Throughout the year, Book TV attends author events, conferences, and book fairs to speak with nonfiction authors. We recently attended the National Press Club's annual book fair in Washington, D.C., and spoke with Bryan Marshall and Bruce Wolpe on the 111th Congress.
Bruce Wolpe, your book is called The Committee. What committee are we talking about?
We're talking about the Committee on Energy and Commerce. Henry Waxman became chairman of the committee right after Obama was elected in 2008. And I knew it was going to be an historic time because Obama's legislative agenda was going to come through the Committee on Energy and Commerce. And so I was Henry's first legislative assistant in 1975. I came back from Australia to join his staff and become part of the senior staff. And I thought I wanted to keep a journal from day one on the work of the committee because I thought it was going to be of enduring legacy. And that's what this book is. It's a history of the committee and how we passed Obamacare, tobacco, oversight like the BP oil spill, some budget stuff, and cap and trade, energy and climate. And this book tells the story of how Congress can work with good leadership and good policy, and we think it's relevant for what may happen in the days ahead.
Now, Bryan Marshall, you're the co-author, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm a professor and chair at Miami University, and I also work for Jim Clyburn on the Hill some of the same time that Bruce was on the Hill following energy and commerce.
So now, Henry Waxman, though, has a history on the E&C committee prior to President Obama's administration.
He was known principally for what he did in health legislation, but also tobacco, and then also on oversight, which is just a crucial function of what Congress does. And Henry, he is probably the most effective post-war legislator in the House in our time, and he had dozens of laws passed. He got the tobacco executives up in front of Congress with their hands raised saying, no, tobacco's not addictive. In the Iraq War, he did a massive accounting of expenditure and policy in the Iraq War. He is a grandmaster of the legislative process.
Bryan Marshall, how did the Energy and Commerce Committee become the Energy and Commerce Committee?
Well, the Energy and Commerce Committee was always the Leviathan of the House committees. So its jurisdictional breadth gives a chair like Henry Waxman the opportunity to really see a large playing field in terms of policy. And so back then it was extremely important. It's going to be extremely important going forward for what the Democrats, if the Democrats win the House, it'll be an extremely important committee as well.
The jurisdiction of the committee covers all energy, all health, all environment, consumer protection. It's wide-ranging and touches the lives of Americans every day. And that's why it's relevant, and that's where the power comes from. And remember, as you know, from covering the Hill, members want to join that committee to have a say in what's going to happen in this country.
So how did it become the E&C committee? Has it always been that way, or is this a post-war construction?
It's one of the first committees in the House. John Dingell, who preceded Henry, was a powerhouse as well. And you had legends in oversight. You talked to Ralph Nader earlier. He loved John Moss. John Moss was one of the great oversight chairmen of modern times, too. And so you have Ways and Means, Appropriations, Energy and Commerce. Those are the hard-charging engines of business in the House.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's one of the main policy committees in the House of Representatives.
Somebody who reads this book, what are they going to learn?
They're going to learn a lot about politics. They're going to learn about the everyday, street level, what's going on in politics, how things happen on the Hill, how members and how staff put together external coalitions. People think that it's all about the counting votes, but it's not. It's actually about putting together a whole national fabric of organizations that support legislation. And so it's a much broader topic, and so that's what they'll get when they start reading the committee.
I wrote every day. My journal at the end of 3 years was 250,000 words. So day by day on Obamacare, how it was put together, how the hearings worked, how you dealt with the special interests, the relationship between the chairman, the speaker, and the president, and then how it was all brought together, the issues that almost undid it, like abortion. Is Obamacare going to cover abortion? And could you get that through the House of Representatives? So it's about management, but it's also about purpose, and that's the difference between what we've seen in Congress over the past few years and the Congress in Obama's time. There was a sense of what they wanted to achieve. and they got together to do it. And that's why we think our book is a template for what may come in the years ahead in a time of deep cynicism about whether Congress can work. It can.
Bruce Wolpe, Bryan Marshall, The Committee, a study of policy, power, politics, and Obama's historic legislative agenda on Capitol Hill. You're watching Book TV on C-SPAN 2.
Keep an eye out for more interviews from the National Press Club's book fair to air in the near future. You can also watch them and any of our programs in their entirety at booktv.org. Type the author's name in the search bar at the top of the page.